Hello, everybody. I hope this is running now. As far as I can tell, if you let me know in the chat, hopefully this is broadcasting. Let me just ask the chat and we'll get this going. All right, let me find the web page here. I know it's here someplace. Hard to read everything. Okay, cool. Good to see you guys. Hopefully some more will join later. It's not like this is going to be one of my typical research and talk for an hour. But good to see you guys. So far we got Chow, Droid, and Christian Zekis. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. But yeah, this was just kind of because I knew the house would be quiet for about an hour and hadn't done one in a while. So my last one was a rant. So I thought, well, we don't want to leave the channel like that, even though I may still do live streams time to time. But I thought about, speaking of time, that we'd do one on how things are the same and yet also how they change. And that things have to happen at certain times. So this is Ecclesiastes 3 on the screen, A Time for Everything. That's where I took that from. And in chapter 1, which apparently the back and forward arrows don't appear when you have it blown up this much, so I can see the screen. Especially if you, good to see you, Spider Monkey. Also, bring some more people. Anyway, it's about there's nothing new under the sun. It says, let's see, which verse was that? It talks about the cycles of life. There is monotony, but it's also comforting sometimes when things are, predictable and normal. And it says, what exists now is what will be. What has been done will be done. There is nothing truly new on the earth. That's verse 9. And then I also thought of, on the other hand of this, that's not an inviolable rule. This is just Ecclesiastes, right? Kelrick, I hope that's how you pronounce that. It says in 2 Peter 3 about the last days when people will say, where is this coming he promised? From the time our ancestors died until now, everything goes on as it has from the beginning of creation. For they're deliberately ignorant of this, that the ancient heavens and earth were made out of water and held together in water by the word of God. The world that time was destroyed by the flood, but the current heavens and earth have been reserved by that same word to be burned, being kept for the day of judgment and destruction of irrelevant people. Irrelevant, that too. Irreverent people. So in some sense, yes, there is sameness in life. In another sense, there are seasons, the parts of the cycle. And in yet another sense, there is new stuff coming. And Jesus mentioned that also in the Gospels when he talked about the end times and said there will be a time coming that has never been before and never will be again. So there is the one new thing that will happen. But what I wanted to do mainly is look at the fact that people get normalcy bias. Hey, James Mason, good to see you. And we think nothing is going to change, even though things change all the time. And we all recognize that. There's a phrase, the more things change, the more they're the same. But there are differences too. And I think in many ways, although none of us knows precisely how things were before the flood, that there's going to be some parts of it I think are actually probably worse. The thing is that we're, yes, there's been technology before. There's plenty of evidence of that. And there were angels monkeying with the human genome and making strange creatures. But, I think there's that going on, at least somewhat behind the scenes now, although there's always rumors of it happening and probably, given the character, if you want to call it that, of the people that do these things, it's likely being done. But we also, have this confusion of one's biology. We have to speak carefully. I think the concept of something like the internet is probably new or unique, at least in its speed. And so there are signs of things of the time that Jesus mentioned about being like no other. And when he said that there's going to be like the days of Noah and the days of Lot, in both cases, he said it's because it caught people off guard. Even though they were warned, they were caught off guard by sudden destruction. And Paul mentions sudden destruction as well in his letters. So we need to balance between normalcy bias and the promises of Scripture that things will happen that have not happened before. But even in my lifetime, a lot has changed. I mean, I was born in the late 50s, and it was a very different world. Nobody had a cell phone. Everybody had a radio and a little black and white TV. Good to see you, Lee, James Mason. Anybody else I haven't greeted? Yeah, Matthew 24 and the parallel passages in Mark and Luke. But anyway, in the 60s, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have computers. It was weird to have a computer in your home. I mean, hardly anybody had them until I got out of high school. That they were just starting to come out with things like the Commodore 64 and the Radio Shack computers that used BASIC and programming language, and so there were still a lot of payphones and stuff like that. If you wanted to look up something and do research, you went to the library, or you had a set of encyclopedias that, the salespeople would come around, and everybody had a set. Ours was from 1962 or 4, something like that. And things were just very different. Kids played outside. We were always outside. We had this little rickety hollow aluminum tube play set with a swing and I think a seesaw. If we wanted to climb, we climbed a tree. So we were outside a lot. We were more in touch with nature probably than kids today. I don't know. But, and to see it go from that, and when you could stay out all day until the street lights came on, and then your parents would call you home, usually your mother, and that's how life was. But now, I've lived to see that change till where we are now, where everybody's familiar with. No need to go over that. But I've seen also a big change in the entire world's morality has absolutely sunk to the lowest level. There are a lot of good people. There will be people converted to Christianity during the tribulation. But for the time being, it's very depraved. And that is a time prophesied, and so it had to be. And a lot of people try to say that Christians want war, that we want chaos, that we want things to be immoral so that we can have Jesus come back. But nothing can be farther from the truth. That's a leap that they make, not that we make, or not that the Bible makes. But there's enough normalcy for life to keep going on, but so much chaos that we also can't be complacent about it, and we have to know the times we live in. And so we're on that precipice of the end times, which I've done many videos on, of course, as you know. But yeah, today is the day of salvation. People need to get the gospel out more than ever, because, not only has it always been that there have been dangerous times that came and went. There's always some place in the world where it's very dangerous to be a Christian, but nobody knows how long they're going to get to stay here. So it's always good to spread the gospel, but even more now, because some of the people we're talking to may be here during the tribulation and remember what was said. Hey, Roto Ox, good to see you too. Yeah, as I was saying earlier, if you just got here, this isn't my usual live stream where I've got some deep research that I'm going to explain. This is mostly just a reminder of where we are in history, and that we can't, in a general sense, always know when something's going to end and the next thing starts. So also for me personally, hey Jeff, good to see you too. And Adam Cook, I don't think I called you out. Um, for me personally, regarding the online communities I've been, I started out in the message boards before I really got into YouTube. I was in quote unquote conspiracy boards, um, some political boards, some Christian boards, and did a lot of writing on my blog. And then I got into YouTube about 10 years ago. I think this is my 11th year now. And started out, like any newbie starts out, not knowing what the heck I'm doing. Although today I had some little technical hiccups, but it's going now. Anyway, I've been doing almost exclusively Bible studies for 10 years, and I think I've covered it as well as I can cover it, but I had the sense after my last Bible video that that was probably the last one. And it isn't just about how few people watch the channel, it's and how few people engage, because engagement is something that YouTube can't hide as well. Yes, you can be shadow banned, but usually the owner knows who's banned and who isn't. And thank you for kind comments in the chat. But also because, like I said, I've covered the Bible pretty well, and I've covered it by book, I've covered it by topic, I have playlists for various things, and just feel like it's time. I've been in the Flat Earth community for almost the whole 10 years as well, which is why I felt at least as qualified as Danny Faulkner to talk about the Flat Earth community. I'm sure I've been in it longer than he has, and he needed a response. But there's been very little interest from the Flat Earth Christians, especially on the series I did on Danny Faulkner. So, but anyway, those aren't all, the only reasons I'm not too keen on being involved in YouTube communities anymore. It's partly because it's just time to move on. There's a time for everything. Hey, Tony, good to see you. What's next? I don't know. I'm more to where I've done the research. I've probably forgotten half the stuff that I did. I think Chow knows better, and maybe Droid, on what I've done and where to find it than I do anymore. But yeah, I'm just saying I don't know. Like I said in my rant video, I'm not sure what's next or when, but maybe nothing's next. I don't know. I mean, I keep busy enough at home, and there's also always life things going on. Question in the chat: do you have any academic theological qualifications? None formal. Academically, not theologically. Academically, I have associate degrees in computer programming, electronic engineering. And supposedly, I don't know if it was one of those borderlines. Maybe this was a scam. I have supposedly a bachelor's degree in computer science, but it was one of those places in Florida that I found out about later. I didn't really check it thoroughly, and so I've got a plaque that says I have that. But that's the extent of my formal education. The rest is just reading and reading and reading and thinking about things. And that's why I started writing down things in my blog, because for me I want to remember something and understand it, I write it down. That's what I do. And after I wrote a bunch of stuff down, it was apparently time to do videos, so I've been doing videos. And I don't know what's next. I've been trying to get the service on Amazon where you can take your books and it will, you can choose a voice to do an audiobook, which are very popular, but so far it's in beta and it's not available in my area. And I could do it through Google Books, but they want all your information, your bank and everything, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. So the audiobooks will have to wait. When that becomes available, I'll probably start working on that. But for the time being, I'm just being retired, and I don't mind hanging out with people. It's just there are certain communities that I'd rather not be in, especially if they're crude, gender supremacist, anything like that. So, I just like to have conversations with mature people, and it isn't just the internet that's immature for the most part. There's just people in general are not being civilized and not being adult, whatever you want to call that. But thank you, Adam, for asking and for your kind comment. Let's see. You see God, I the numbers. Uh, I don't know what that means. I usually can figure out typos, but you see, I can't work that one out. Um, so yeah, this is our big chance to ask questions because I really don't have anything other than what I had on the screen about certain things that are going to happen. That statement about the world being made out of the heavens and the earth, meaning the sky and the earth, made out of water and held together in water. I did, Chow remembers this, I did a thing called Water World, where I looked into ancient Near East cosmology, which is something that I shared with our biblical cosmology group, which doesn't meet often because, life happens. But so you might want to check that out sometime. Question: have you ever covered or debunked other religious texts or sources like the Quran, Talmud, Catechism, Book of Mormon, J.E.'s Guide? You mean Jehovah's Witnesses Guide? I don't know. Text is a little blurry. I'm still struggling with the cataracts apparently becoming a thing, but they're not bad enough for surgery, and I've used up all my visual insurance stuff for the year, so I have to wait till next year to get that fixed, if they can do anything about it. But as far as religious texts, I do have some material in writing. I haven't really done videos on them because I like to concentrate on the truth, right? But I have some stuff on Mormonism and Jehovah's Witnesses and several other things. The Talmud I mentioned briefly in some videos and some writings. I don't feel the need to debunk things that are patently false. Catechisms, I don't care as much about those because they're just somebody else's creeds. As far as being a formal way of somebody affirming certain things to be in a certain religious group, I really haven't paid much attention. Some of them are mostly good, some are really raise your eyebrows. But yeah, the Book of Mormon, just briefly, I did most of those studies many decades ago. Joseph Smith, if you know anything about him, he was failed at quite a few things, including water dowsing and some other things that were popular in his day. And he claimed he had Egyptian plates that he had dug up or something and took them to an expert who said, this is gibberish, this is nothing. But I think those went on to become the golden plates that he got some friends to say that they also saw. That was written in an ancient form, and then he would sit behind a curtain and dictate what it said to someone writing his words down, which became the Book of Mormon. But curiously, there are many word-for-word quotes of the King James Bible that was available in his day. Yes, the King James Bible does get revised, has been revised many times, but that he was just a plagiarist. And I also think he plagiarized Mormonism, because there are many serious, significant parallels between the two. The founders both claim to have been chosen specifically for, they've seen an angel, that God took them to heaven to see things. There are golden plates involved in both religions. Both were told they were special and the religions were corrupt and they needed to fix them. And they had a small group of followers who would back them up. Then they actually engaged in violence, both cases, and then claimed victim status and all sorts of things. And so they borrow from each other. The false religions do that because none of them can think of anything new, kind of like Hollywood. But Jehovah's Witnesses, yeah. They were founded by Charles Taze Russell. They were originally called Russellites. Many failed prophecies of the end. They claim the 144,000 are their bestest people, which the Bible does not support. The 144,000 are only mentioned twice in the Bible. That's in Revelation 7 and Revelation 14. Not much is said about them other than first they're sealed from 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes of Israel, very specific, and the tribes are named, therefore they're not euphemisms for some other groups of people, such as Jehovah's Witnesses. And chapter 14 that just says that they follow the Lamb wherever he goes. They're seen on Mount Zion and so forth. So both of those are easily dismissed. Mormons also try to claim that the Americas were the original promised lands, or that Jesus came over and a bunch of stuff happened there. And they've looked tirelessly for artifacts to back that up. Never found them, but that doesn't stop anybody. Um, so yeah, those three religions are easily debunked. And then you have there's all sorts, questions about the Catholic Church and all sorts of things. I did a series once called I think there's a playlist for it on the Reformers and their stepchildren. It goes into church history after the first century, up to the Reformers, and there's some real eye openers in there. So you might want to check that out sometime. Yeah, thanks, Chow. I knew you guys, my trusty mods, would come up with when I did videos on something. Well, thank you also, everybody, for kind comments. Let me try to catch up with the chat. God in the numbers, in the sense of having a computer programming background and seeing the mathematical aspect of our Creator's glory. Yes, that is how I think. I think in PHP sometimes. I mean, it's just how it is. I've actually had dreams of, they turn into nightmares because I'm trying to troubleshoot a program, and it goes into an endless loop, and you wake up exhausted. But thankfully that hasn't happened in a while. I haven't coded in a while. Let's see. Danny hijacked answers in Genesis to push a false account of Genesis, preaches a Greek cosmology, not the Hebrew cosmology of the Bible. Absolutely. He is really zoned on the Greeks, and ignores a lot of other things. And supposedly this book on helping Christians, marginal Christians, by pretty much his own admission, who might get fooled by flat earthers, that this is how they're going to answer them, especially with biblical creation, which he saved for the end of the book and did a half-baked coverage of. And just watch the series. You'll see what I think of that. Answer to Genesis website Danny works for says the account of origins presented in Genesis 1 to 11 is a simple but factual presentation of actual events. But Danny is not preaching Genesis, but a Greek cosmology. Yeah. He mocks Bible literalists, while, as I pointed out in the series, he is one when it comes to timing. The days of creation, he takes woodenly literally. And yet totally ignores the construction of the realm. In any place in the Bible is never described as a ball, as moving, other than God shaking it on occasion, as orbiting the sun, which didn't get created until day 4. Never says any of that. And if it comes to, this is the big thing, the taproot of it all is between the Bible and science, or the Bible and philosophy, is which one do you put first? Which one is your true Bible? Because if the Bible bows to science, then science is your Bible. And if you're saying that because science, so-called, says heliocentrism, then the Bible must be allegorical when it talks about what they call phenomenological language, like sunrise, sunset, or even Joshua's long day, believe it or not. I always come back to, how do you know that Jesus rose from the dead? Because that defies biological sciences as well. So why do we keep one and not the other? There's no way to be consistent with that. Let's see. Christian Zekis is, I hope I'm not, I'll just call you CC. 1 Corinthians 1, 4-5, I thank my God always on your behalf for the grace of God, which is given you by Jesus Christ, that in everything you are enriched by him in all utterance and knowledge. Amen. Yeah, anything else you want to talk about? Because, like I said, I didn't do any research or anything. I just kind of checking in with the few who come here, and which I may do again from time to time, but there's an old Chinese curse that says, may you live in interesting times, and I'm convinced that's where we're at. Hollow, fractal, multi-dimensional thinking, visualizing. I'm a mere HVAC engineer. If you don't know what that means, it's heating, ventilation, and cooling, but often see things as a result of higher dimensional causes. Okay. I know, what was his name? Can't remember it when I went to. I can see the guy who later in life was teaching not holographic theory, but just things being digital, our reality being digital. Help me out. What's his name? Chuck Missler. Sorry, I got it. Chuck Missler. Very good on all sorts of other things, especially prophecy. But I think he went off the rails on simulated Earth. That's the word I was looking for, simulation theory. And I said, here it's real simple. If this is a simulation, we too are simulated. And therefore, this is our reality, and we're back at square one. So I dismissed simulation theory just like that. I don't see any way out of it. And I've talked about the so-called Mandela effect. I've decided to call the followers Mandalorians. But that has become a religion to a lot of people. It too trumps the Bible, just like people want to use quote unquote science to trump the Bible. These people use personal memory, which is solipsism. Only thing knowable is what's in your own head, pretty much, and makes one's personal memory God above all, because it says that the Bible, and a lot of the people, not all, but some of the people who believe in that also believe the Bible is not the Word of God. And then we have all sorts of other topics I've covered, such as King James onlyism. Ran into another one the other day. They're typically nasty people, calling everything else a perversion of Satan, every other translation. They don't care about original languages. They think the King James trumps even those. What can you do? Yes, I think we have a pretty good group here. I agree. It's a small group, but it's a good one. And it's important to trust people. One of the reasons I backed away also from online communities is the untrustworthiness and disloyalty of so many people. They don't value character, and sometimes get so zoned on a technical topic that they don't even recognize when there's another aspect to consider, such as there was a recent situation where there's somebody running, by all accounts, a scam to go to Antarctica. And all I did was point out that other people were pointing out about this person being a scammer, and it was rejected out of hand because of being irrelevant, off topic, whatever, or character assassination, which I'm like, that just blew my mind, because how can it be character assassination to warn people about someone's character, which they have demonstrated, and other people have confirmed that someone is a scammer. I know a long time ago there was somebody over in the UK who was selling to older people some promise of shelter in an island during the tribulation, and he turned out to be a scammer. I think it's proper to warn people about scammers, no matter what the topic is being discussed. I think that's proper. It's not character assassination. It's not like you're going around trying to tell the whole world that this is an awful person, just that you don't want to be scammed by this person. Even the Bible names people. There are several instances where it's always two, I think in two different cases, where people were named so that other churches would be warned about them and not be fooled or taken in by their lies. This is always, a good idea to do. But because I'm out of step with the group of people I've been hanging with on their panel, we don't see eye to eye anymore. It's just another indication. And this is something that happened after I've been asking God whether I should stay, and I got that. So I think that's a good indication to keep my distance anyway, not to leave completely. I have friends there still, but there's things you need to pay attention to as a Christian when God is telling you something. And in my case, it's not giving me any more, fires lit under me to cover some topic, and knowing that I'm not communicating with people that I used to get along with pretty well. So let's see. We're in a man-made simulation, deep in deception. Yeah, in some ways, yes. Not a literal simulation where we're programmed, digitized. I can't accept that, but we are awash in deception. And when Jesus was asked about the end times, the first thing he said was, "Don't be deceived. Be on your guard." So yeah, we are in the age of deception, the age of madness, some of the things people say and do that they seem sincerely to believe is just mind-boggling. Um, yeah, thanks for the link. Also, ciao, Android. Yeah, the one, what does this mean, was kind of part of my rant last time as far as what I was ranting about. Misogyny, people don't like that word. It's a trigger word to a lot of people. But just for the record, I believe in equality. I don't believe anybody gets entitlement or restriction based upon how they were born. Um, the flesh they were born in. I don't think that's any reason to either promote or restrict someone. Right now in my time zone, it has just hit 2 p.m. Yes. Nice word, chow. Um, and I suppose if you're wondering what this black square is on the screen, it's it says live chat disabled for the stream. I don't know why it used to always appear there. I could have the live chat on the screen. Today it's not working. I don't know why. It's fickle, these programs, and every time there's an update, something changes. So I don't know, but yeah, it's 2 in the afternoon here. So anyway, this is probably about the time of day. Sometimes I run in the evening just because something comes up and I want to cover it right now and I go live on the spot. That doesn't happen too often, but if I did, it'd be evening my time, so you'd be asleep in the UK. Yes, it's like and share and all that. Although subscribing, I'm like, I'm not sure how much new content I'm going to put out, so it's up to you. We are perilously close to 2K subs after I've done all my work, but that's okay. And I have re-uploaded a fair number of things as well. Sometimes I've cut down some of the conversation that wasn't on topic and re-uploaded them, but I probably won't do a lot of that. Somebody in the comments on my channel suggested some new platform called Lighthouse, but in order to get the confirmation code so I can upload videos, it has to be able to make a post to my social media, which I don't have any, and I'm not going to make one just to do that. So that'll have to wait. Consciousness crashing in real time. 49 and 40 years ago, concentration span was allegedly 3 minutes. Now it's 30 seconds. I know how that goes, especially as I get older, and you walk to the kitchen and go, what was I going to get? And you wind up getting a snack instead, whatever it was, like washing the dishes. All things work together for them that love God, who are called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28, absolutely. Thanks for the link of links. One link to rule them all. Yeah, any other questions or anything? Because I don't really have much else to say other than there is a time for everything, and it's time for me to either do nothing or God will show me something else to do. But like I said, I'd be willing to go on somebody else's show if they're decent people. If they're not going to, do either sexism or ageism. I'm running into that now. All sorts of things that people are just, disrespectful and uncivilized, awful lot of them. I don't want to be with people like that. And I haven't been joining Discord servers because it's aptly named. Things just always go wrong there. And they're just not, I'm in direct messages there, but that's all. You're loved and followed. Okay. Thank you, everybody's prayers and good advice and nice words. Okay. Typos, the bane of our existence. Okay. All right, thank you. Yeah, I meant society, not us. Okay. Okay, right, gotcha. It took me a minute to connect that with your earlier comment. It is a little blurry to look. My eyes aren't as bad as they were today as they were yesterday, so I got that going on. I can mostly read the text without squinting too hard. Let me see if I can put something else back on the screen just to change it up a bit. Thank you, and hi, Kim. Good to see you, too. Wow, 19... Let me look at that. Sorry. concurrent viewers. I couldn't see that number or the tiny text above it. That's better. That's twice what we've had for probably the past year. Go figure. Um, so I don't know. I might do, just any kind of life update or something. We're living a very nice. We live right next to a park. We found some affordable apartments there. Um, had a funny little scare this morning. We had a nice day yesterday. We had, family over a couple different days this past weekend, and this morning, I'm getting out of the shower, getting cleaned up and things, and I see this, without my glasses on, I see this kind of a big brown spot high up on the shower curtain. I'm like, what the heck is that? And I go over and squint, and I'm, a few inches away. I said, it's a bat. Somehow a bat got into our apartment. I have no idea how it got in. Maybe somebody left the door open for a while and nobody happened to notice a bat fly in. There is a fireplace in this apartment, although it's a gas fireplace, but it does have a vent. They have to have a vent. I don't know how it got in through there, but possibility. But I'm like, I took a shower and everything and got dressed without knowing there was a bat in my bathroom. I didn't see it until I got right next to it, and then it starts flying around, and I'm freaked out. But you're very vulnerable when you've been taking a shower and stuff. And it's like, I didn't even finish brushing my hair or anything. I had my husband go find some. We were looking for a net or something, and he found the laundry basket had a net in it, so he grabbed that and caught it and took it outside. So I wasn't even all dressed or everything. It's like, yeah, I need some help right now. Yeah, I've never met a kangaroo, so I don't know if I don't have any reason to dislike them, but at least they can't sneak into your house. There was one time a long time ago we were tent camping, right? And we folded up the camper and drove, a couple 100 miles and got out to the next site, and there was a bat that had been stuck in the folds of the canvas. We had to get somebody with thick gloves to come and grab it because nobody had a net. And the thing was just, the guy, the maintenance guy or whatever, grabbed the bat, and then it's just chomping on his hand, trying to bite through the glove. I don't like bats. Let's see. What have you guys been up to? Anything, like I said, I can't think of what else I haven't covered or that I feel like covering at this point. I'm kind of burned out on it, honestly, but not on studying the Bible. It's on doing all that work of research. It's very labor intensive. It takes a lot of focus, and then you organize it, then you figure out how to present it. And I'm retired now, so I'm going to be retired. It's hard as a transition to not having my mind busy all the time. I do work some puzzles and stuff, but I don't know. It's kind of me. It's just getting used to a slower pace, I guess. But like I said, I can still talk about stuff. There's only certain things I'd tell personally because online and you never know who's going to dox you. But yeah, I'm sure a bat would keep criminals away. We have kind of funny memories of one that was in a neighbor's house a long time ago when my husband and I were first married, and an older lady lived next door, and she asked us to help get the bat out. And she's at the top of her stairs with a broom waiting to try to hit it, as it flew past. And so I forget what all the sequence of events was, but somehow she knocked it out. And before we could, my husband could pick it up or anything, she's whacking this thing with the broom so hard it broke the broom. This image of this older lady was whacking a bat to death. It's just one of our shared memories from long ago. I don't know what other people talk about in their old age, but those are things that stick out in our minds. Let's see. Arms meet at their shoulders. Yeah. Flying fangs. And bees are flying stingers, and mosquitoes are flying syringes. Will I revise the Gift New Testament? Probably not. And it's because even though I still find a typo here and there and some things I would like to have worded differently, I had to stop at some point because a book will never be finished if you keep updating it and keep correcting problems. The most recent version is this one on this address. I can give you, I mean, it's the particular book I'm looking at right now, but I'll just give you that link real quick. If I make any other changes, it will be here, but I pretty much doubt it. I found some problems also in the Greek text. Sometimes when I wrote software that would convert it from one database to another and things like that. Sometimes I would find that the last verse is missing and it has the previous verse's number, and it's really weird, but I don't know how many people look at my Greek text anyway. That's mostly for me. If I want to know what the Greek says and I can't always remember where I've got a list of links and sometimes they go bad. And so I have my own Greek text and it's like, just quick for me to look at. But sometimes I find there are errors in it. But yeah, the English text is probably in its final form. Let's see, grateful for religious fellowship. Okay. Yeah, while there are many paths to finding the truth, there aren't many truths. The path that each individual takes to get to where they finally found Jesus or, the truths about the world we live in, there's still only one truth. The world is what it is. The Bible is what it is. Jesus is who he is. And those things will never change. Like he said in John 14:6, I am the way, the truth, the life. Nobody comes to the Father but by me. So then that's not going to change. Great morning at church. During prayer, I prayed for God to send a sign to let everyone know he was with us. And moments later, it was the most enormous bang that came through the speakers. There you go. There's the big bang for you. You never know when that happens. I remember there was this author named Josh McDowell who was on some mission trip or something, and there were some Christians were getting ready. They had a few microphones. This was, I forget, somewhere in South America maybe. And a bunch of people in this building, and they got up to speak, and some communists or something, I think, it was a political group, took over the mics and took over the meeting and started spewing Marxist propaganda. And then there was this loud bang. And a few seconds later, everybody smelled the burnt smell of a blown transformer. And he said, the Christians got bold. They just like, you don't have the mics anymore. We're going to just all spread out and say what we're going to say. So God works in mysterious ways. Let's see. I stopped editing videos, but haven't stopped taking video. I have like a year's worth of footage. And if you don't know, Chow does a lot of time-lapse photography to edit, but I lost my motivation last year. Long story. If we aren't raptured, I'll probably start back up eventually. Yeah, I think we're all kind of in a holding pattern. We're definitely in the end times, and I'm surprised how bad it had to get before Jesus would come, but he will come. Yes, it's pre-trib. I don't care who wants to hassle me on my website about it. I've done plenty of videos on that. I recently had an argument with a Hindu saying he believed in Jesus but still worships Krishna. That's like saying, I don't know, I could think of 100 things, but I'm like, you can't have two masters. You either love one or hate the other. Yeah, Krishna is basically Satan, god of destruction, god or goddess, I don't keep track. They've got millions. They had a statue of Krishna outside CERN. It had some weird pagan ritual. Pagan is a loose term. I'm not using it in a specific term. There are pagans who would get offended at that. It's just like, people use the word Christian. They think America or the West is Christian. It decidedly is not. But it has had a prosperity unknown in history, as far as I can tell by any evidence, because of Christian influence, the values that Christians have had. But that's pretty much all gone now, by design. Like I said, a time for everything. And because there is no safe place for Christians left in the world, The West is waning quickly in that regard, and I believe in this is just another sign of the end. Be grateful if anyone could consider me in prayer for healing of my edema and vascular issues. Everybody pray for Adam Cook about that. I've got eye problems. My great nephew, I think, just a little baby, and he has eczema and he has a severe peanut allergy, and he's throwing up every day, and nobody knows why. They can't find anything wrong with him. His mom is frazzled over that, and understandably, but if you guys could pray for him. And let's see, Droid, housing and health. So many people. Neil needs a job. Everybody who knows him knows what Neil I mean. Needs a good job. Another friend that I used to know online. Let's see. I'm pointing because I've got pictures in my mind where these people are that I remember to pray for. 10th man's wife. She's struggling with cancer, has severe nausea all the time. All sorts of things going on, and another reason that Jesus could come back and solve all of it in one fell swoop. So, but yeah, if nothing else, yeah, we meet a little now and then, and you guys can feel free to go to my community page. I had to think of what YouTube calls it. I'll get you the link for that. But I'm going to have to go pretty soon. That's my community page. You might want to check this one out about the alien deception that will cover the rapture. We all know about Project Bluebeam. I think they mentioned that. There will be a cover story for when millions of people disappear. And it's not just Christians alive. It's, first of all, Christians in the grave will come out and given immortal bodies. And the thing that happens in the twinkling of an eye is our transformation of the living from mortal to immortal. That's what happens in the twinkling of an eye. Nobody says it's a secret. That's why they need a cover story. People who say secret rapture don't know what they're talking about, because none of us who believes in the pre-trib rapture thinks it's going to be a secret. I mean, we don't say that. This poster, it's cut off here, but lion and lamb comes from these two. People talk about that, this being the most popular Mandela verse, but Revelations 5:5 says that Jesus is the Lion of the tribe of Judah, and Revelation 6:1 says, I watched as the Lamb opened the first of the seals. So Jesus is the Lion and the Lamb. Anyway, things I put on my community page. Also got my that lame eclipse sequence and some of my videos from the recent eclipse. And this is the one on how 666 looks in the Greek, and it's XXX, right, is how each of those words begins. And that's why I'm thinking, well, we have like X, the social media platform, space X. Where's the last X? I mean, there's all sorts of things that are pointing to me like maybe, just pure speculation, maybe that's the mark of the beast, is a triple X. This one don't pay any attention to. That's an older one anyway. But starting from that one, there's some decent community posts. And you can, I don't know if you can post anytime. You can comment on a post that I make. I think that's how that works. Right, there are no contradictions in the Bible. Let's see, 12 billion year old body of water floating in space. Wow. Yeah, and planets made of diamonds and all sorts of things. Let's see. I'm catching up with the chat. I give you power to tread on serpents and scorpions. Yeah. Let's see. 2 weeks after I found Jesus, before I read the Bible, I had a dream. This time to make things right with God for the tribulation's coming. Excellent. All right. I read that one. Oh, I hate it when the chat is messing with me. I'm just trying to keep up, and it rolls when I don't want it to. Let's see if there's anyone in chat that I'm not, someone trolling or whatever. It may be someone I've blocked and I don't see them. If you can see them, you mods know what to do. Let's see. Yeah, we had quite a few laughs and went through the details of your. Okay, talking about something I don't know anything about, but that's okay. But I'm going to round it out, as a popular saying goes, um, because I'm out of things to say, and I think we're up to date on stuff, and we know we're living in crazy times, which is a reason to know the Bible better. Okay, cool, droid, thanks. Um, and yet there's a time coming that has not ever happened before, and yet for the most part, everything comes in cycles. They've been before, they'll be again, but we're ending, we're near the end of that cycle. Um, so, all right. Anything else before we shut down? Um, yeah, I can't think of anything else, and you know where my sites are. What's your view on out of body experiences? I've never had one. I don't seek for one. Um, I think they're a matter of perception. Um, I don't know that there's a way to prove that they're literal. Hey, P. Etchen. I was just going to end. You caught me late. But anyway, as far as out of body experiences go, I don't know how anyone could prove whether you're actually out of body, because even the Apostle Paul said that he was taken to heaven and seen things, and he wasn't sure whether he was in the body or out of the body. So if he didn't know, I don't know. Um, it's not something I would go seeking for, but if they happen, I would also just make sure that you talk about Jesus or pray to Jesus for guidance or something, bring Jesus into it, whatever you do, because if it's of a negative source, it will go away immediately when you bring him into it. Uh, oh, no need to send me money. You know what I would prefer you did, Tony, is send it to Droid. Somewhere around here I have his link. Let me go and get that. If I can just read my text. There it is. And I highlight it, and a lot of times I miss the first letter. But there's the link for Divergent Droid, who is still needing money for moving and basic necessities, and perhaps some health care, especially dental care. If you would be so kind, because I would probably just turn around and hand it to him anyway. But I appreciate the offer, but I'm just not in need at this time, and I would be more happy to see you give the money to him. I really would. Anything else before we go? Like I said, I just wanted to talk about how things happen in cycles, but we're approaching a time of new things, bad things, and then good things, and that me personally, I'm not going to be as active, probably not going to do more research videos, and who knows what it's going to be, but it won't be as often as I used to. Yeah, Give, Set, and Go, I don't like them anyway, so, but, or I'm sorry, not Give, Set, and Go. What is it? GoFundMe. They were nasty. But Give, Set, and Go it's pretty straightforward. I don't know, it should take you right there. I mean, I'll show you what I'm seeing on the screen. You just click the Give button, or whichever button you want, and fill it in. It might ask, it'll ask you for how you're going to get the money to them. I don't know if a credit card or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Because I don't even have PayPal. I don't have that anymore. I don't have anything but like Zella. I think I still have Cash App. But talk to Droid, see if he can find a way to get that for you to get that to him, because if it's a matter of payment method, I don't know what to tell you. Sorry. Never saw OBE. Oh, out of body experiences. It was against my will when I was doing immoral things. Okay. Okay, yeah. Yeah, if it happens again, just invoke Jesus' name and see what happens. All right, Tony. Yeah, I hope it works for you. Like I said, I'm just going to click on it, even though I've already donated. But you fill in the money, and then it'll ask you for your email and stuff. Then when you continue, I think it asks you for payment information. That's probably where the trouble is. But that should be straightforward. Like I said, talk to Droid later if you want to, work it out. Um, Cash App. Okay. Yeah, Tony, if you have Cash App, um, there you can use that name without the quotes. So there you are. Yeah, good to see everybody. Um, and if I feel like going live sometime, I'll try to set it up ahead of time. If not, sometimes it's just on the spur of the moment. But thanks for coming. It's good to see you all. Support Christian channels in general, if they're supportable. Even just by being there, there's a lot of false teachings. You have to be careful, or there's misogyny, or KJVO, or whatever silly thing it is. But anyway, like I said, I'd be willing to go on another channel if they're decent people. But thanks to all of you. Let me try to find my outro thing, and we will see you all another time.